Welcome to the first ever episode of Juniper Junction. This is two brothers talking about Notre Dame football, and this is our first episode. My name's Matt. My brother Chris is on the other line there. Hey, Chris, say hi. We are probably, about like, how many hours away? It's game day right now.
It's game day, probably, 16, 15 hours away?
Oh, yeah, and it's like 1:30. It's 1:30 in the morning. We finally figured out how we're going to do this. I'm pouring a beer. It's probably going to be the last beer of the night as we do this podcast. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Notre Dame football. We got a big game tomorrow, September 1st. Actually, not tomorrow. Today, September 1st, we're playing Michigan. We were ranked 12th. I think Michigan is ranked 14th. It's a big game for both teams, I think, because we're going to find out what our teams are all about. I think when you start off talking about quarterbacks right now, we have a quarterback that started 12 games last year, Brandon Wimbush, and Michigan is starting a brand new quarterback, a transfer from where's he from? From Mississippi State. Mississippi State. Shea Patterson, and he's got a lot of hype. And a little disclaimer: we'll try to talk football. Sometimes we'll mess up here and there with names, but as far as Notre Dame goes, we should be quite on key.
I'll mess up names either way because I'm just a bad name guy. I just want to point out too, Michigan State, who is ranked 11th ahead of both teams, struggled tonight with Utah State. They did win 38-31, but it's Utah State. We're not talking Utah.
That made me cough.
Dang, smoke that blunt.
Ty Willingham. All right. No, I think when we talk about quarterbacks, I think what we saw in Brandon Wimbush last year was just like any first-year quarterback. He's trying to do everything he can to win games, and I thought he did a pretty decent job because he's not only a very mobile quarterback, but he also has an arm. It's just that sometimes he's not as accurate as you would like to see in a quarterback. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think he's my honest opinion. And I know you and one of my friends from way back in the day, it's a big Notre Dame fan, have all disagreed with me, but I think Kelly is stuck on him being such a big athlete and that he's got the legs, and he's got a rocket of an arm. I'm not going to deny that, but at times you're wondering if he's looking through like fish lenses when he's throwing the ball because he's not accurate, or he can't throw the soft touch ball to the fade in the corner of the end zone.
I think we saw that in practice when they released the video practice, and they're just throwing screen passes, and he was throwing behind the running back every single time. And you saw players like Ian Book and the new quarterback Phil Jurkovec. I'm saying that right?
Jurkovec,
or whatever. Jurkovec, or I don't even know how to say it.
Frickin' Jurkovec.
He's a 4-star, I think 4-star quarterback, and I think that he was even throwing more accurate passes than Wimbush was. But
it's not even that. It's the other video we saw where they were throwing into the net and they had to throw into the pocket on the net. It's not even moving target, stationary. It's something that you should be doing since you were like probably in junior high, if not elementary school. And Books like nailing it, Jurkovec nailing. Then Wimbush comes up and it's like he's got beer goggles on. He's throwing it in there. I don't understand it at all. He should be nailing that. Of all passes, that should have been money for him.
Well, and I think maybe it's just it's practice, maybe a game situation.
Practice. We're talking about practice.
Allen Iverson. But you talk about practice and maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just a thing. But once he gets into a game situation, maybe it's going to be better. I mean, when you look at last season, he did not I don't think he committed, and I'm not looking at, maybe you can look this up, Clutch, but maybe he just, I think the turnover rate wasn't as bad until games against Miami, where he just was completely terrible. And that's when I think he originally got pulled, and Stanford. And both of those games, he just didn't seem like the quarterback he was in, like games like when you look at games like Michigan State, where he just dominated. And he showed a presence, and he was playing on the road at Spartan Stadium. So,
yeah, you might be right. I'm trying to pull up stats right now, but he's hot and cold. I mean, he looks good. I think when the pressure's really on, I just don't. I mean, I have no disagreement with you. I think there are players not only from Kelly's team, but also we'll go on the basketball side with Bray's team, where I think there are players that don't get played when they should be because they're one of those players that may do okay in the practice side, but as soon as those lights come on, boom, they're a totally different player. And I think those coaches sometimes pull the reins back on them and don't let them play. And I mean, I'd be a coach, I'd be nervous too because you never know what's going to happen. Is it just a whim? But he seems at times where that's happens, but then sometimes it's almost too much hype and he gets nervous. I hate to say this, but I really like Book. I know you and our buddy Wayne have ripped on me and said that, oh, Book's the next what do you call it? What's his name?
Tommy Rees.
Tommy Rees
2.0.
I don't think he is. I don't see the nervous feet. I don't see the Rees looked like a guy that would work at the gas station that got thrown into quarterback. Book looks like a real quarterback. I mean, he looks like a quarterback when he drops back. He knows what he's doing. He's not nervous, and he's very definitive on what the passes he's throwing. And he's got some legs. I mean, he's not Wimbush. He's not gonna do a 360 spin around some defender and run up the field. But I think he's pretty solid. So I really like Bush. I was calling him like a Montana type quarterback. He's kind of.
You mean Book? You like Book, right?
Did
Book.
I say Wimbush? Yeah,
you said Bush, like Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush. It's the beer talking.
Right.
But yeah, Book. I think Book is. I think Book is the real deal. Now, Jerkovich is still young and he may be good, but I do want to say that Jerkovich. What is his stats are 6? Is he 6'5"? He is 6'5", 220 as a freshman. That's Gary Godsey-esque type thing. He can be thrown out at the tight end position for a few games and then brought back to the quarterback position if we need him.
I don't think he's going to be a tight end and like a Gary Godsey. I think this guy as a high school quarterback had all the tools, and this guy is serious about what he's doing. I think he's the quarterback of the future. I'll tell you that. But right now, I don't think he's going to get his 4 games in because of the rules. They're going to get him in for 4 games, whether that's games against Ball State where they're up by like 50 or something. But right now we got to concentrate on winning games. And I think Wimbush right now is obviously what Brian Kelly is looking at, is that Wimbush is the guy. And just like, how many years ago, 6 years ago, when we had Golson and Rees, and Golson was the guy, but when he started to make mistakes and it looked like we were in trouble, they brought in Rees. And I think you're going to see the kind of the same thing. Now, a lot of the fucking media, talk about, they're like, oh, Brian Kelly's talking about, using a 2 quarterback system. It's not the case. He's talking about winning football games. And I think what Wimbush is going to be the starter. And if Wimbush wins the game, you'll never see Book. But the thing is if Wimbush starts to struggle, Wimbush, I said Wimbook. That's how good.
Mutant.
Maybe we just start calling him Wimbook, because it'll be 2 quarterbacks, Wimbook.
Yeah.
So if Wimbush starts to struggle, then I think you're going to see Book come in just like Rees did 6 years ago. And, Crazy scenario. Who's the quarterback coach? Tommy Rees. So I think they're in a perfect position. I think both guys are very competitive, but I think both guys understand that they want to win, and it's not going to be a scenario like you saw with Malik Zaire and Deshaun Kaiser. Those two guys wanted to be the quarterback, and I think it got in the way of winning football games. It really did. Zaire took, when he came back from that injury, he wanted to be the quarterback. It wasn't really about Notre Dame football and winning the game for the team. He wanted to be the quarterback, and you saw him get down once Kaiser was in the game, and he couldn't handle that. But so if you have two quarterbacks like Wimbush and Book who are both on the same page and they want to win football games, they're going to play like a team, and one's going to help out the other, and they're going to come in, and if they can help each other out and win games, I think you're going to see a very successful season for Notre Dame football this year.
I think if Wimbush and Book or Wimbook fails, we're going to end up seeing the demise of both of them, and the implementation of number 14 at 178 pounds, 5'10" sophomore from Cathedral Catholic High School, J.D. Carney, coming into the game and rocking the field. That's all I got to say. This is my 2 cents.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't even know who that guy is. But let's move on. Let's move on to the backfield.
Red cap calling into plays.
Right.
Doing one of these.
Oh, that's what Kaiser did. Remember? He was doing this. He had the hat on backwards. He was doing this. You had no idea Kaiser was a quarterback. He just looked like a freshman who was just like doing signs, and then all of a sudden he comes in and throws that freaking bomb to win at Virginia, and you're just like, whoa, where'd this guy come from?
Kaiser was throwing in those signs from Toledo, right? From all the way from Toledo across state lines into South Bend.
So we can go to receivers, or we can talk about the backfield. I think if we want to talk about the backfield, I think everybody is wondering whether or not Dexter Williams is playing him today. If Dexter Williams, now he sent out a tweet saying some bullshit about, chopping up yards or eating up yards. I don't know what's going on. And Brian Kelly is being very vague because he can't talk about it. It's his whole legal thing or whatever. You can't say anything.
He's going to be dressed, though. He's going to be dressed.
But if you go back last year, Kevin Stefferson, who was also in the same position, did dress, and he did not play for 4 games.
Right.
But the difference between the two is the fact that Brian Kelly last year said that Stefferson had a lot of work to do to get on the football field. Brian Kelly this year has talked and praised Dexter Williams and said that how much improvement he's seen from Dexter Williams through spring, through summer camp, and he's very excited that he's going to do some great things.
Right.
So I'm a little confused. I think a lot of people are confused. If you listen to the media, they're like, bullshit. He's suspended for 4 games. You're going to see it. He will not start until the 5th game of the year, which would be huge, because I think he's an electrifying player that's not got a lot of shots. And Brian Kelly will tell you right now the reason why was because that he was more interested in running the ball, and he wasn't interested in trying to perfect blocking or to do all the other things that did not require running the ball, which is helping out the offense actually gain yards on each down.
So if that is the case and he does sit for 5 games, he will be sitting through Michigan, Ball State, Vanderbilt, and Wake Forest. Not a bad stretch. I mean, obviously that we want him in that first game, but he'll come back on the Stanford game, which is where we need him, and then take off with the rest of the ACC schedule after that, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, and so on. But back to the media, if you're not a Notre Dame fan, you're picking Michigan to win this game. And I have seen all variants of that. I've seen Michigan's going to win. Michigan Notre Dame game is going to be close. It's going to be tight, low scoring, because the defenses are so tight, which again, I don't know where people are getting the defenses that great with Michigan. With the schedule they had last year, they went 8-5, and The teams they beat were, I believe, at home, and I don't know. I thought somebody said that they all had either mediocre winning records or losing records. And I've seen the other spectrum where today on College Football Live, Desmond Howard, who's usually pretty solid and not as homer as his predecessor, Rocket Ishmael, who would always pick Notre Dame, actually picked Michigan to win, which is no big deal, but then went as far as saying Michigan will win the national championship this year, which I thought was like, come on, dude, are you serious? I don't care how good they are. I don't care how good the quarterback is. They're not going to be Clemson. They're not going to be Alabama. They're going to struggle with both those teams if they make it to the end. Georgia they'll probably struggle with. I just don't see that at all.
Well, and I'll tell you right now, Michigan has a great defense. We know this. Rashawn Gary.
How do we know this? What is it based on?
Based on last year. You're going from last year and not losing a lot of starters, and you're bringing back a 5-star defensive end, Rashawn Gary. They have a very, very good defense. However, we've seen this on our own because Ty Willingham back in 2002 had a great defense, but they did not score a rushing touchdown for 8 games. And that means, like, what do you have on the offensive side of the ball? You have a brand new quarterback who's learning a brand new system in Shea Patterson. He's going whatever he had, because it was all over the place when he was at Mississippi. Mississippi, what? Where was he at? Who cares?
State.
Mississippi State. He was at Mississippi, or was he at Ole Miss? Who gives a fuck?
I thought it was Mississippi State, but I think it's the same, isn't it? No, Ole Miss is Mississippi. Mississippi State. I thought he was from Mississippi State. Anyways.
Fuck that guy. Anyways, the guy's learning. From what I've heard, is that like it was just run and gun, do what you can to win a football game in Shea Patterson when he was playing for Mississippi State or Ole Miss or whatever it was. But the thing is now he's got a pro-style offense that he's working in. It's a brand new offense. And he has a shit offensive line. Everyone knows that Michigan's offensive line is terrible this year, and they were terrible last year. It's going to be hard for them to either gain ground, not only I think in the air, because I think that Notre Dame's defensive line is going to surprise a lot of people. You look at their defensive line. Let me look here.
You know, I think they're being called a big defensive powerhouse because of what's the guy's name with the fucking carrot top blonde hair, like he's Ken or Barbie or whatever. It's like he's some NFL. What's the NFL guy from Green Bay?
Linebacker. Yeah, they're all linebackers. They like to grow their hair out and put them in ponytails. And
but look at this. I'm looking at some of the scores. Okay, last year, Michigan State 14, Michigan 10. Michigan lost to Michigan State by 4 points. What did Notre Dame do against the exact same team the week before that? Notre Dame 38, Michigan State 18. They smoked them. I mean, that's I don't understand that. The next week, Michigan 27. Who they play? Indiana. Indiana what? Hoosiers, not the School of the Blind, unfortunately. 27-20. They beat them by 7 points. Okay, they don't have a great defense, but they still let them score 20 points. I mean, yeah, they've had some scores. Air Force, Air Force score 13 points. Who's Air Force? Purdue, they let score 10 points. Who's Purdue? Purdue's on a downside, been on a downside for over a decade. They played Penn State. Penn State rolled 42 on them. Penn State's pretty good. I wouldn't say they're necessarily they're knocking on top 5. They're top 10. Michigan let them score 42 points. If they're the best defense, which I've heard already this year, best defense in the country, how did they let a top 10 school score 42? 20, I could see that. 42, no, that was a blowout. Rutgers, 35-14. Okay, that's Rutgers. What else we got here? What's another shitty? Wisconsin, 24-10. They let Wisconsin score 24 points. That's what I'd expect with the Penn State game, obviously. I don't know. Ohio State 31-20. South Carolina, Michigan in the bowl game, 26-19. Another one. I mean, every time they lost, it wasn't close. It wasn't like 20-19 or something like that. They got beat by a touchdown and a field goal or a couple touchdowns. I don't see how this is a big. I need to dig into stats more, and unfortunately, I'm not a big statistician. Maybe next week we'll dig into those, but it won't matter at that point. But I don't see them being that great. I think it's all hype. It's ESPN hype for the most part.
Well, and I think that when you look at both these teams, I think you're going to see players play a little bit above their caliber because it's a Notre Dame Michigan game. You're going to see a game. And a lot of people are predicting a low scoring game because both teams have pretty good defenses. Defensive tackle Jerry Tillery is, that guy. He could be an All-American. He could have an All-American year. We're looking at who's on defensive end, Khalid Kareem. He's from Michigan, from Farmington Hills, I think. He's developed into a great defensive end. I mean, we have a lot of great pass rushers, and I think you're going to see that. The thing is that what hurts us, it really big time hurts us, is the fact that we had a huge injury this week, and that's Sean Crawford. And he was moved to nickelback. I think he was a cornerback. He was moved to nickelback this year. Sean Crawford is a player, and that guy's had some tough runs. I think he tore his Achilles in a couple of years ago. He was out for a year. Last year he had a great season. Michigan State. He was the one that when Michigan State was running that ball across the end zone, and he popped that ball right out the end zone at the goal line and got that recovery. He's just a player. He's a dynamic player. And Brian Kelly said that he really feels bad seeing him go down. And I think every Notre Dame fan too sees it as a tremendous loss just because of the fact of what kind of player he is. He plays balls out every single down. And on defense, that's what you love to see in a player. I mean, we've seen some crappy cornerbacks in past years at Notre Dame, Gary Gray, that you just don't want, that just don't know how to play football. I mean, that don't know how to turn towards the ball and look for the ball. And I mean, you saw that in that night game in Michigan where he just got burnt back in, what was that, 2000, whatever, 11 was it? I don't remember.
Right.
I think it was 2011. But it's great to see Notre Dame's defense really kind of come up. I think they played well last year. They kept teams at bay a lot of times, and they really only kind of screwed up at the end of the year against Miami and Stanford. Games before that, they kept those teams in check, and it was really fun to watch. You're finally seeing turnovers like Julian Love. I mean, that dude's if we see a pick six in this game against Michigan, I would love to see that. I mean, that's something you want to see in the game because those guys are constantly playing some great. And Drew Tranquil, another guy who's been plagued with injuries and had a great season last year, and I think he's a team captain this year. And that guy, he's a fifth-year senior, and he's coming back, and he came back knowing that there was unfinished business and there was a chance to actually win a national championship for Notre Dame. And I really think they could have a chance. It's just that you really got to play strong. Last year against Georgia, that 1 point loss really, really bit them, but they were able to kind of hang on the rest of the year. And then, November they've crapped out, and that sucks. Is that every November it's just like you see the downfall of Notre Dame football.
Yeah, but that's Brian Kelly's strong point. He's usually like, "Hey, November's we're gonna rock it," and they've done that before. But yeah, last year was sucky.
Did you hear what he did this year though? Was to kind of throw all kinds of chaos into the situation.
Yeah.
Where he replace the football with a soccer ball, and And, and that's good. I think that's good to a point. I mean, it's really good to keep players on edge and to make them focus in situations where they're not, when there's all kinds of chaos going on, especially when they're on the road. So yeah, he's trying all kinds of things, and I applaud him for that because as a coach, you have to evolve. You have to do things differently sometimes. He did that last year when he just stripped away all the coaches and reestablished his coaches with different coaches and I think that worked out well until defensive coordinator decided to jump ship and go to where'd he go? He go Texas. It wasn't
Texas A&M.
Texas, yeah, and with what's his name? The guy from the old Florida State coach.
Yeah, Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, Jimbo.
All right, you ready? Let's play let's play a little game here. Ready?
I want to play a game.
Yeah, real quick game. Okay, first I'm gonna throw up a guy's name. You got to tell me where he's from. Give me a ballpark guess where he's from. Ready?
All right, go.
Boom. All right, hold on. Boom and oh, that's the wrong. Hold on.
Come on, boom it.
Sorry, boom. I screwed this up. Hold on, I screwed this up. Come on, where isn't it coming up? Hold on. Sorry.
You're fine.
Nope, I totally screwed this up. Hold on, let me redo this.
As you're trying to do this, talk to me about what do you think just a night game to start the season. This kind of takes me back to the 80s when, I think we even played. No, we played Michigan. I think it was the second game. It was back in was it 88? Was that a night game? That's when Reggie Ho hit the field goal and then Michigan shanked their field goal and they won.
So I don't know if it was a night game or not, but just by coincidence, listening to the College Football Live on ESPN today, Desmond Howard's favorite game ever was the 1988 game against Notre Dame. He said he scored 2 touchdowns and Michigan lost, which was surprising that he called that out.
For 88?
88. Yeah,
he's probably championship here.
No, 88 was after the championship.
That would have been 89.
88 to 89 was, I think, what he was talking about. It would have been with that would have been more with not Tim Brown. Who's the guy that played for the San Francisco 49ers, running back?
Ricky Waters?
Ricky Waters, yeah. It probably been his freshman year or something like that, right in that area. 88, 89 when he was coming on. So, all right, ready? Here we go. Tell me where he's from. Ballpark. Boom. Oh, wrong one.
Whoa.
Wrong. Hold on, let's try this again.
Hey man, you guys got okay. Oh.
Ovi Ogaufeofo. Where's he from?
Alabama.
Yeah. No, you think he's from Alabama? You think he's from Alabama? Okay.
I think it's from America still. Where's he from?
He is from.
Whoa.
Oh, there goes again. Gosh dang, we're not getting this right. Screwing up the old screen here.
Hey man, and it's all we got to work out the kinks in this first episode.
Yeah, he is from Lathrop Village, Michigan.
Oh shit! It's right next door to where I work.
I know. It sounds like what?
Oh fuck!
All right, a couple other things. First, I want to talk about this guy right here. I think this is going to be one of the key makers with Julian Love in the backfield and out in the back safeties, cornerbacks area. He is the transfer from Navy. He looked dynamic in the spring football game. Alohi Gilman. Just look for Gilman, number 11.
Brian Kelly said this guy is ready to play, and I believe it. I mean, dude, look at that.
Yeah,
that guy looks unreal. He doesn't even look real. Look at him.
Yeah, he looks like he should be a model with Ashton Kutcher or something like that.
He looks like a robot.
Lastly, I want to talk about Carmen Akinaki. Cameron Akinaki, have you ever heard of him?
I don't even.
No, he's from. That's because he's from our high school, Edwardsburg, not Michigan hometown. That's the quarterback, baby.
What the fuck? I've never heard of this guy.
This is the quarterback. I think that was at our high school a year ago or 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
He went to our high school. I just pulled up him, and I noticed that he is now a running back. If you see that, he is now one of the running backs for Notre Dame, probably the 16th string running back because he was a quarterback at our high school in.
I
If you
hope
look
he
down
gets
here,
into a game.
Edwardsburg,
Edward High School in Niles, Michigan. Wait a minute. Edwardsburg is in Edwardsburg. It's not in Niles. He might live in Niles or like have a Niles address because we have a Niles address and still went to Edwardsburg. But that guy, you can't say that he went to Edwardsburg High School in Niles, Michigan. Notre Dame, get your facts straight.
I think I'm going to post that on Facebook later. I mean, I don't understand why. I don't understand why Notre Dame's getting this wrong because Notre Dame is
right
literally.
there.
I could spit on Notre Dame from our high school for the most part in Michigan. Yeah,
that'd
it's
be
that
quite
close.
the loogie. I mean, you have to get a good arch on it.
Yeah. I think I might have just woke up my entire family by laughing at that. By the way, so I might be. Yeah, I'm getting stomped from upstairs. I just got in trouble. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh. That's not good. Well, maybe it's a good time to end this show. I mean, we're about a half hour in, and that's where we wanted to keep this at. And this is our inaugural show. So you know what? One last thing, score predictions. Give us your prediction, Clutch. What do you think the score is going to be tomorrow or tonight? Tonight.
I'm going to say 35-17, Notre Dame.
35-17. I am going to go with the more conservative outlook. I think it's going to be a little bit of a lower scoring game. I think it's going to be 19-14 Notre Dame.
Oh, wow. Okay.
19-14.
Your boy Winbush just isn't going to run the ball as much as you think, huh?
No, I think the Michigan's defense is going to stop them.
Defense, whatever.
Well, here's the thing. You know what? One quick fact. Michigan has not won a game on the road against a ranked team since 2006. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and all I got to say is that the Notre Dame defense is going to be recognized by the rest of the country when they win the turnover battle on tonight. I was going to say tomorrow night. Tonight. So I think there's going to be some INTs, maybe some punched out balls that turn into fumbles. So I think Notre Dame's going to get a couple out of the 35. What did I say? 35-19, 35-17, whatever.
Yeah.
Pick some teen number for Michigan because they're little wimpy teens. I think some of those 35 points that Notre Dame's going to get, there are going to be at least one, if not two, defensive scores. So it's Julian Love and what's his name? Aloy Gilman from the former Navy guy are gonna really shake it up in the backfield because what is this guy, this quarterback from Michigan? He's a thrower. He's not a big runner. He's not elusive, but he can definitely run a little bit.
He's missing his number one receiver who broke his other foot, which is weird. You break one foot, you break the other foot.
Sean Crawford, ACL. I can totally relate with that.
So we're even now, I guess, right? Hey, and just to let you know, Rashawn Gary had a stinger in his shoulder during the week, so you might want to look at that too. So it would be nice to have a guy like Tony Jones Jr. put his helmet into his shoulder, and I'm not wishing any injuries on anybody, but I'm just saying, let's play some football.
Right. Let's do it. Go Irish.
Go Irish. Game time. See you next week. Juniper Junction. Two brothers talking Notre Dame football. We'll see you next week.
Peace.